Here, I just wanted to share a little bit of information. We think that with the slowdown in the oil field, that we might see a slowdown in the schools, but in December we picked up 5 kids in the district, and in the last 2 days we've enrolled something like 25. They just keep coming. I don't know what's going on, but it's been interesting. If you haven't signed, is anybody that hasn't signed this, so we know who's in attendance? Okay. Okay, Mr. Smith, is there going to be a spokesperson? Or
I believe so, yep.
Kathy Mavity.
Kathy, okay. Before we get started, Ms. Mavity, if you'll just bear with me for just a moment, I just want to make sure I have my facts correct. We all know that the curriculum night was on December 2nd, and looking at these grievances here, am I correct that they were submitted to Dr. Pitkin on December 3rd? Okay. And the principal replied on December 12th with an email. And then these documents were submitted to my office on December 19th. Okay, so Mrs. Mavity.
I put a rundown of our grievance in front of you, and then the emails are here. We got a copy of the emails from our principal. We're grieving the fact that we were required to be present for curriculum night at Jefferson Elementary on December 2nd. The time was served consecutively outside of normal school days parameters. And as a collective body, we believe that it was required by our school district and not necessarily extra duties assigned from our principal. And ultimately, we were asked to be inside our classrooms outside of contract time, and we are asking for consecutive compensation for our time. And beyond that, do you want me to read verbatim?
No, I've already read it, that's fine. What time were the teachers required to be at Jefferson? My understanding is that many of you arrived at 6:30, but Dr. Pitkin had said you needed to be there at 7. Is that, I might be misunderstanding that.
No, 6:30 to 8. On all the emails it says 6:30 to 8.
Okay. I haven't seen the emails, so I'll review those after the meeting. Pass some of these around. Just put the extras on the table there when we're done. I'll give you each a few minutes to read this information. I'm assuming everybody's finished reading these. These are the minutes from the collaborative bargaining meeting between the DEA and the school board on April 24th, 2013. These minutes were agreed to by both parties as accurately representing what happened during the meeting. And as you can see there, it does say that, does talk about the fact that curriculum night was discussed. It was discussed extensively. And that the agreement between the parties was that the resolution to that would be the school district would provide flex time, working with the building administrator. And when I looked at the grievances file, where's that sheet? I have it here. I mean, there's a variety of requests, a half a day of personal leave, 90 minutes of personal leave, and that's explained in here why that's different, why there's those distinctions. But the minutes reflect that the parties agreed to the process of utilizing flex time.
What we don't have distinguished is the exact amount of flex time. I think therein lies the rub, is that some people are coming in with 90 minutes. I guess we assume that our duties would fall under the parameters of 20 minutes, 30 minutes if a principal asks us outside of regular hours. But to the point of an hour and a half, I think that's where, and the troubles and difficulties finding daycare for children or being away from our homes.
Yeah, I know that the specific and exact amount of time was not discussed during those negotiations, but I think it's safe to assume that the parties knew that the curriculum night would not be 20 minutes long.
I guess, I don't know if I could speak, but for future reference, if we could have a reasonable amount of time to know in advance, because I think that was the hardest part, is we didn't know when it was coming, and it came, pretty quickly.
Yeah, and that's an important comment, and just to follow up on that, I think it would be helpful for the school district if whomever the buildings select could sit down with either myself and Mrs. Catherine and the building principals, or with the building principals, and maybe get this organized before the end of this school year for next year. If it is something that we're going to continue to do, I think that would be helpful to eliminate some of those frustrations.
And I know that we've had numerous people discuss how it'd be more beneficial to have a curriculum night at the beginning of the year and not within 2 weeks of a parent-teacher conference. So I don't know if we could look at that too.
Well, we can, and that's the point that I'm making, is that it is exactly that, Mrs. Mallory, because you make a great point that, getting those types of frustrations identified, because I've heard from a variety of teachers. I've had a teacher at Lincoln visit with me about it, and visited with the teachers from Lincoln yesterday. They made a couple of different comments than what are being made this morning, and I think it would be helpful to illuminate all those for the administration and maybe allay some of the frustrations that were caused this year.
Could I just put in I'm thankful I can sit in on this because I'm not going to be here tomorrow, but one of the things that Prairie Rose is concerned about too is if it's a curriculum night, and I feel that, yes, it's a valid thing, whether it be, this long of a thing, but we're wondering if it's a curriculum night, why doesn't it include our whole district from K through 12? I guess we sat in on the presentation that our principal gave, and it seemed like a very scripted presentation on the Common Core. And it was like it was fulfilling Common Core needs versus the curriculum. And it was only 2 weeks after our conferences. And it was also a time where our teachers at Prairie Rose were given report cards on Friday morning, and they needed to be issued Friday afternoon. So it was a lot of things that caused, I guess if we feel as a district curriculum night is a needed thing, I really feel it should be K through 12 and not K through 5, because it just seems like K through 5 teachers, and I've been a classroom teacher, are put with so much on their plate, Dr. Sullivan, that it gets where we're frustrated, we're burnt out. And I just think that, again, if curriculum night is going to be something that our district really feels we need, then I think it should be every grade included. Common Core is all the way through 12th grade. And it's like, it just seems like the elementary has to bear the blunt of everything. So, thank you for letting me attend this.
You're welcome. I hope you have a safe trip to Frisco.
Oh yeah, it's not going to be very warm though. It's only supposed to be 39 on Saturday, but after this morning, 39 will be like a heat wave. Yeah.
To piggyback on that just a little bit, would there be an option to maybe have a curriculum night that would be done in one building, since we all follow the same curriculum and have the same standards that we follow? Does it have to be where we have maybe 90 parents in one building and 5 the other? Or could we do it in one central setting, and everybody that would like to attend could attend that, and then we could have a really good turnout?
All good points.
Yes.
And if it happens, it should be on a some sort of compensated basis.
I agree.
Like the parent-teachers conferences are. You know, we have compensation days for those. If it's important to the district, it should be important enough to make it right. I don't want to sound redundant because we kind of went over this yesterday.
But these people weren't here yesterday.
For those of you that weren't here yesterday, Yvette Schubert was, and it is still her consensus in talking to her last night, Dr. Sullivan, that there absolutely was no consensus. If you read in the last paragraph, or in the 4th paragraph, it was Chair Fair said it appeared the team had a solution, but since we were still collaborative, there was no vote, like which is normal, and she's adamant that she still had a problem, and according to the meeting norms, the problem for one is a problem for all. So she doesn't believe there was a consensus. And you said yesterday that the court mandated or concluded that our tentative agreements become part of the negotiated agreement. Where did you find that?
The court, the order of, I don't know how to pronounce the word, what is it, mandamus? Mandamus?
Yep, I have that in front of me.
The court ordered the school board to issue a negotiated agreement for the 2013-14 school year.
I'm a pretty good reader, and I have it in front of me, and I read through it again this morning. I can't find it, Dr. Sullivan. I can't find where it's in either the conclusions of law or in the order of mandamus. And basically, what the order of mandamus, from what I understand of it, is, I'm not a lawyer, but basically it only applied to that school district could not impose a 2-year agreement. That's what the whole court case was. And then I went through the Supreme Court case, and that come out basically the same. I can't find anywhere in there where it dictates any of the tentative agreements. And then I went through the professional negotiated agreement, and Yvette was right. It's not in there, but all the other things did. So either it was an oversight, or possibly Mr. Reed didn't believe that it was concluded, or I don't know. I can't find where it was. I can't find it in writing, boss. That's what I'm saying.
Well, if you'll bear with me, I'll go. It'll take me a few minutes. I apologize. I didn't anticipate this question, but I'll go find some information.
Lyle, I don't know if you remember one of the DEA member meetings, but Title I schools, their literacy night.
Yep.
Are they not compensated? They are paid to be there. They're not?
We weren't, yeah. But it isn't required as a staff to be there.
Okay.
Literacy night used to be like a big thing where the Title I teachers and people that were with Title I would put on. They could do it after school, but they needed to have one meeting like that during the year. But now I was told that I can do that as an open house during conference time. I just have to have communication and give the parents time to come into my room. But we were never paid at Roosevelt. There were a
Okay.
couple times when we had
Same frustration where it was
we had
about
hot dogs and
that
everything
it's
else.
not from the top down. That's the indication we got, that it was district-wide, correct? And that it was not
Okay, bring
coming
that-
from our principal. No.
Bring that up when he comes in.
Somebody else say that.
Say it.
Yeah, I think so.
Would you guys not agree? Did you not get the feeling that it was from district-wide?
Well, and I guess I look at it too, if he had to confer with Melanie about it.
Well, and we were told that if you had any questions, you need to come to central office to ask about it.
Oh, okay. I guess we were told that. Yeah.
That's the point, bring it up.
My husband's gonna kill me.
Yes, she was.
Told me to keep quiet.
And I had 3 parents show.
You had how many? You had none.
Oh, see, we had a good turnout.
Roosevelt
But we
had none.
ju-
Yeah.
We had just come off of conferences. You already explained all your curriculum. I mean,
Good job.
Yes, you did a nice job.
Favorite designer.
I don't know.
That also.
Amanda,
Yeah.
how many did we,
Students?
no, yeah, how many people did we have attend?
I think like 55 or 60.
Oh, was it that many?
Prairie
Okay.
Rose and Jefferson were the highest,
I guess Roosevelt had no one.
but they didn't send out invitations like we did.
Yeah, they did, because my daughter-in-law got one.
An invitation in, yeah, I was told that a couple teachers there said they didn't send out an invitation. They had a monthly newsletter.
That's exactly what we did.
What about, people know about that right away.
And she ended up getting
I think it was we were told that person that was required. That, and if we didn't show up, we would be back to pursue.
Oh, we didn't, we weren't told that.
Okay,
But you
and
guys were
then
right.
The music
Well,
teacher
I was just
told, she had already committed to
Something else.
some quartet or ensemble, and they were doing Christmas music and stuff, and she said, I've known this 3 months in advance, I can't help it. She was told that she had to take her son. And later on, then she was told, don't worry about that, you give enough time. And then we had a teacher 2 days before this, she was told she didn't even have to come.
What I just handed to Mr. Smith is a letter from Mr. Geierman to Rachel Bruner Kaufman, who was the school district attorney at the time. And in paragraph 2, Mr. Geierman writes, as you recall from the order of mandamus entered on October 24th, the district was ordered to offer the DEA the 1-year negotiated agreement for the 2013-14 school year, and the district was ordered to execute the same. Therefore, I ask that you contact your client and have them produce the negotiated agreement, sign it, and deliver it to Lyle Smith, DEA president, for his review and signature. And so the school district was ordered by the court, even according to Mr. Geierman, to issue that document, which we did. Now, admittedly, there's nothing specific in there on the flex time. I will concede that. But that doesn't mean it was not agreed to. And it's curious to me why Ms. Schubert would make that comment when the minutes that were agreed to by the DEA and the school board clearly reflect that Mrs. Schubert said it looks like the solution would be flex time.
That's for literacy night.
Dr.
I
Sullivan,
believe
was
that-
that
Miss
for
Madden.
literacy night?
Pardon me?
Was that for literacy night at the time? The flex time would be provided for literacy?
Literacy night was briefly discussed, as you see there in the very first full paragraph of the document with the yellow on it, that it states that the teachers accepted that, being literacy night, and participated and didn't argue or complain with literacy night. Then the second curriculum night was added, so this discussion was specific to the curriculum night.
But literacy night is not required by classroom teachers. It's a
Literacy
Title
night,
I.
Pardon, I'm sorry.
It's a Title I mandated night where I know at Roosevelt we had, where a couple years we did have, you know, all our staff come and present reading games, and we even put in some math games and that kind of thing. But it isn't a required night. They have to do something like that. Now we can even have it as part of our open house, or we can have an open house during conference nights and not even have a literacy night. You know, is there another, was there like a page 5 for this? You know, I guess I understood Mr. Reap had made a comment about literacy night being a requirement where curriculum night wasn't.
He did make that comment.
You know, on a previous page, I don't know. But
It doesn't really say that the teachers accepted it. It says if the teachers have accepted the second one, curriculum. It doesn't say that they did. It says if they did.
Pardon me, Ms. Mayor?
On the first paragraph on page 6, the first full paragraph.
Oh, I'm not contending that the
Okay.
teachers accepted,
But-
you know, that it states that the teachers as a collective unit accepted curriculum night. What I'm contending is that the minutes reflect that the agreement between the parties was that for curriculum night, flex time would be the solution. I mean, Ms. Schubert states it, Mr. Fay states it, and then Chair Fair wrapped up the conversation stating that it appeared that there was a tentative agreement.
But in
It's a
the,
very ambiguous word,
Pardon me?
tentative.
And that's true, and that was Ms. Biano, Benstock, and that was discussed yesterday. And the fact is that everything that was agreed to in terms of salary, emergency leave, increasing the compensation for unused sick leave days, and curriculum night were all tentative.
And
Every one
everything
of
but
them.
that, oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about
Every one of them, and those were incorporated into the negotiated agreement that was provided for the 13-14 school year.
except for what we're talking about now. All the
Doesn't
other
mean it
ones did
wasn't
get in
agreed
there.
to. What it means is that the administration has fulfilled its responsibility of complying with the negotiations that were conducted between the parties.
that second full paragraph, though, talks about literacy night and not curriculum night, though.
Where does it say that?
Mr. Reap said that Mr. Fay and Mr. Gray didn't get the extra personal day because they don't have to go to literacy night. Does not say curriculum night.
Well, I don't know what that means. I'd have to go back and visit with Mr. Reed. But the discussion was about curriculum night.
I feel like the flex was kind of an afterthought. I wish we would have been told right away that we're doing curriculum night, but you will get flex time. I feel like that just came up, I think, a week before we had to actually have the night. Dr. Pickens said we'll be getting 3 tickets for 15 minutes or 45 minutes for flex time. But I wish we would have been told right away, you know, when this was introduced at the beginning, that you will be getting flex time. I think we would have felt a lot better about it. But now it feels like it's just an afterthought that was thrown in. Instead of, this looks like it was supposed to be planned, but I don't think it was. I feel like it was thrown in afterward, and I would like to be compensated still for the
And
half a
that's
day.
another good point that hopefully we could clarify through some discussions in the coming months to, eliminate some of those frustrations.
And we were initially told that we needed to show up for this curriculum night, and then a couple of our teachers have after-school jobs, and they said, what happens? And then, if we have to work, and then we were told that they would have to take part of their personal leave to fulfill it if they wished to do it, because we had a teacher that had already committed to a big musical for months in advance, and she was told, but then later she was told that that would be fine, she wouldn't have to show up. And then a couple days before our curriculum night, one of the teachers was told she didn't even have to come. So I guess it was like it wasn't set in stone. It was, we were told initially that yes, we would have to come and you'd have to make arrangements. We had a teacher that lost $80 worth of pay that night to come. And then, you know, we find out that one teacher was told that she wouldn't have to come. It was like, you know.
To follow along with that, I'm not contracted to the Dickinson Public Schools Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I was expected to come after my 13-hour travel to Standing Rock and back and come for an additional 2 hours that night for curriculum night. So it would be nice to know where I fall in that situation. Am I expected to come to this curriculum night outside of my contracted days?
When was
Because
the
additional fees for childcare outside of my normal hours. Trying to find that childcare, transporting from their childcare to my home. That makes for a very long day, 15-hour day.
I guess I was under the impression that it was kind of up in the air too, Dr. Sullivan. When was it finally decided to have curriculum night? When was the final decision?
It was a very short time. There's no doubt. I mean, I understand that frustration.
October,
I do not remember the exact date, Mr. Smith.
I believe it was close to the end of October. I might be wrong with that, though.
Would you like to have that?
Yeah.
Dr. Sullivan, we received an email on November 24th that confirmed the date and time.
Yeah.
And it was December 2nd?
November 24th.
No, but I mean, the actual date was December 2nd.
Yeah.
Right before.
The final decision, I believe, was November 21st, Dr. Sullivan.
And I'm conceding that it was a very short time frame.
But it did come from the administration.
As I said, hopefully we can eliminate some of those frustrations with some discussions.
But this was an administrative directive. It was not decided by the principals, right?
No, I'm not conceding that.
That email that was just handed to you is an email from you to the principals stating that they should go ahead with curriculum night.
Mm-hmm.
And so this seems to be a directive from you, which would be the administration.
I was aware that there were frustrations. I was trying to work through some of those frustrations. I shared the minutes of this meeting with Mr. Smith, which I assumed would be shared with everybody else in the district, which didn't happen, apparently. And
You mean after one of our morning meetings?
He shared it with.
yes,
I left almost, well, everything in the office, boss. I did.
no, I know.
I-
But my only point is,
I didn't know I was.
all
going
I
to.
did was give green light to the activity. It didn't mean that I mandated it, because I was trying to navigate some of the issues.
I wish it would have been a red light.
Well, that's fair.
Sorry, with respect.
Dr. Sullivan, one thing that we'd like to have in the notes and for future reference, we'd like to look at possibly combining curriculum night with open house.
Good idea.
If that would be
Ms.
a
Mavity, I think
possibility.
those are all great points. You know, and I think all the suggestions that have come out here this morning could help to move the thing forward in a less frustrating manner. If we can, at some point in time in the next few months, get together and have some conversation.
But we've never received comp time for open house either. We work that full day.
Yeah, and I'm assuming that there's no comp time for music programs.
Nope. And it's always the same teachers in our building every year. It's first, third, and fifth.
And so now I'm hearing that you want flex time for those also?
I'm not saying that, I'm just saying that if we move curriculum night to open house, there should be some type of comp for that. We've never received comp for open house. It's always just been established that you go, that you're there.
And also, Dr. Sullivan, you got to remember with these 3 tickets that we were issued, I do hall duty until 3:30 every day. Classroom teachers, being in a classroom, if we can leave at a 3:15 any Friday, it's kind of a miracle that we can, because we need to watch our children leave the school. And the earliest I think I ever got out on a Friday, instead of 3:15 like we could, would be like about 3:45. So those 30-minute tickets really are not valid for the majority of us. I might be able to leave 15 minutes early now because I have hall duty until 3:30. or until the last child comes out of the 4th and 5th grade wing. You know, so I guess those tickets really didn't satisfy. You know, maybe if there would have been 20 tickets or something, I don't know. But classroom teachers just, they can't get out of the building at 3:15 or even 3:30. I mean, it's just, I know you've been at our school. Come after school sometime. I mean,
It's crazy.
you know, you just kind of like, oh, they want to tell you what they're doing over the weekend. So, I mean, the flex time thing, I don't know, it's just kind of short of compensating us, Dr. Sullivan. It really is. You know,
I think I would like to add too that I think that from what I've been hearing and my feeling is if as a collaborative group someone doesn't speak up our concerns, how much more will be put on the plate if we don't stand up for ourselves when we feel like we've reached our limit? Is there going to be something else?
Okay.
And so I think that
When?
as a team, I just feel like we want to be heard, that we don't want it to get out of control.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
and I truly feel, Dr. Sullivan, if this is something our district wants to follow, I like the open house thing, but I really think it needs to be a district-wide thing. I mean, I just feel elementary, I've been in the elementary level 39 years, and it's just like the elementary level gets everything tacked on them, and it stops at grade 5 or grade 6. You know, and I think if you're going to have something that people are going to come on board, I just think we need to be treated, you know, the same way. So.
Well, and I wanted to say with your tickets, the tickets to leave early, what I struggled with is that doesn't mean I have less work to do. I'm still losing my prep time to get things completed when I was planning for curriculum night.
Yeah, good point.
And so for me to leave 15 minutes earlier or a half hour, I'm still taking that work home with me. And so that compensation doesn't align with the time that we lost in our preparation.
Yep.
Dr. Sullivan, in the interest of time, I need to excuse myself to take children to daycare.
Okay. Is there anything else, Mr. Smith?
I have nothing, sir.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for your time. I hope you have a great day. Stay warm. Ms. Cornell, have a safe trip.
Yep, go by.
Hey, Cornell, the soup family.